Good afternoon and welcome to the Indy Boomer Show. I'm Mary Pat McKee. I publish a magazine called Indy Boomer, and you are looking at the November issue of Indy Boomer. This is Reverend Harrison on the cover. He is with the 10-Point Coalition, and the whole issue revolves around what are you doing in your community to give back, because Reverend Harrison is doing a lot in the Indianapolis community to give back. I want to take a quick minute here and thank Jim Wofford and the Wofford Theater, Logan Street Signs and Banners for allowing us to have this show every week. And from there, I want to introduce my newest interview person. I totally didn't do that very well. Jill Rusk, did I say it correctly?
Yes.
Jill, tell us what you do and who you're with and go from there.
Good afternoon. Jill Rusk, and I'm a nurse by background, Director of Business Development for Cardone Associates. It's a family-owned company providing services and care to seniors throughout the state of Indiana.
Okay, and Cardone is one of the companies that supports Indy Boomer, and of course, you know, we're very pleased with that. But there are facilities in Hamilton County. In fact,
Correct.
My parents are at one of them, Hamilton Trace, which is located over at 116th and Cumberland. But you also have Carmel Health and Living.
Correct.
In Carmel, off of Medical and Range Line.
Right.
Okay, and I want to talk a little bit more about that particular facility. But we also have in Noblesville, you have Harbor Manor.
Harbor Manor.
Is there, who am I forgetting? Am I forgetting?
And we
anyone
also
else?
have a new development at 146 in Ditch, which will be
Okay.
Copper Trace, that will be opening in 2015.
In 2015. Jill and I were sitting here talking before the show, and she was telling me some amazing things about Carmel Health and Living that I did not know, which, you know, there's a lot of things I don't know, but now I know even more. Tell us that you're doing kidney dialysis on site in that facility?
Correct. Well, what we find is it's important that we're relevant to the hospitals and can meet their needs, but it's also critical that we can meet the needs of the community. And what we found in that area is often patients have to be transferred out of state
Yes.
to be able to have this type of dialysis where they may be clinically complex and they can't meet the requirements for outpatient dialysis. So we actually put an inpatient dialysis center in the facility. So they can come to the facility, they can regain their strength, and actually go to dialysis while they're there.
Okay.
And there's also independent apartments there also, so they could maybe, if that was a choice, to actually reside there later and continue to receive their dialysis.
Okay. Well, and you know, I have to tell you, in Hamilton Trace, because that's the one I know the most about, you have several different scenarios there as well. I mean, you have assisted living,
Correct.
you have rehab, you have 24-hour skilled nursing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a facility where, as a person progresses in age and their needs and things
Mm-hmm.
change, they're able at that facility to address any of those real needs.
Exactly, and we call that aging in place, and we're currently building independent living at Hamilton Trace. We're in the process
I
right
know.
now.
Oh my goodness, yes, and I saw that. That's going to be something. Is that going to be 3 stories? Or?
Yes, and that will be, soon that should be completed, but what's
Okay.
important is we can meet the needs where the seniors are at that time in their life.
Right.
And then being comfortable with the staff and the families feeling comfortable, then they can transition through whatever level of care is needed at that point in time.
Right. And you know, something that's interesting, I know you know this as well, is that Fishers is a rather young community.
Mm-hmm.
But we are finding that, you know, people, baby boomers, we want our parents closer. So if they have problems or issues, we can be there to help them.
Exactly.
And so that helps with having these facilities in the Fishers or even Hamilton County area, so people can bring their parents here and stay and be able to keep a close eye on what's going on.
Correct.
So-
And being a nurse and going through that personally with my parents,
Yes.
how important it is to have someone you can reach out to that is a resource, to begin that relationship and be a patient advocate and walk with you through the healthcare system,
Right.
insurance, the financial, and even more important to me, it was the emotional decisions
Yes.
that needed to be made.
Well, and we've talked about this so many times on this show and in the magazine, you know, people getting behind the 8 ball because they think their parents are fine, everything's going along, and then all of a sudden one of them falls and breaks a hip, which that is a lot of times how it starts.
Correct.
Tell us about the conversation that we really, really want people to have with their parents, why their parents can still help in the decision-making process.
And I said, personally, I've experienced this, so I try to share that with people because I lost my father to an accident, to a tragic accident where we weren't prepared. And when my mother was diagnosed with cancer, the important thing that happened is that you have that conversation and you know their wishes. my mom had honored our wishes all along during our lives, and it was important that we could do the same for them. And so you may not be able to complete everything that they do or they would like to have done, but to know those wishes, and then you come together as a family and say, who is the contact person, and who in that family is going to be the person that is the main person of contact, and also who can do what. With busy families, busy life, who has the time and the resources? What can we do? What's realistic?
Well, and I'm lucky in my family because my brother's a CPA, so he got to be the power of attorney and takes care of all the money. My sister is nursing in her background, so she does all the medical. I just make sandwiches and take them out occasionally to them, but
Which is needed.
no, it is, but the point is, like you said, is figuring out what expertise you have within your family,
Exactly.
and then what you don't, find those resources.
But even though you have the expertise in the family, what I found is often there's times that because it's so emotional,
Right.
some people may not be capable of doing certain things or don't feel comfortable with it. So that's why the conversation is so critical.
Okay,
And
yeah.
then there is not any type of problems that happen with your siblings,
Right.
so that can be carried out.
Well, and you're right, because it's so it's so personal, it's so close to your heart, and it's so hard, that role reversal that has to happen.
Exactly.
Tell us more about the conversation. I mean, what are we looking for? What do people?
One of the things, and I'll use my mom as an example, is the conversation that we had is what were her wishes? And as we knew that she had a terminal illness, what was that going to look like? How would she like her care delivered? Did she want to stay at home? And if she couldn't, what type of facility would she want to go into?
Right.
Down to, all the details that she wanted.
Was
it
she able to help?
And she was able to
Okay.
communicate that. But we had that early on because we didn't have it with my father.
Right.
So we
You
realized
learned
the
the hard way.
important
Yeah.
things. Lots of times people don't know where the finances, who their financial planner is, their parents, where that information is, who their physician is,
Right.
all the list of the physicians, their medications. They may know they're on medications, but what are the medications?
Right.
And what are they taking them for? So all this information is important to gather. And as illnesses, as someone progresses through their illness, when the things happen, as maybe it's time that they're not safe to drive anymore, and they may not be safe in their home, you
Right.
have the information and you know what their wishes are, and then as a family you can come together and then reach out to your resources to make those decisions to keep them safe. And there's a lot of things that we can do to keep people safe at home, and there may become a time where they're not safe at home, that you need additional resources or additional oversight and care.
And really, that typically is the reason why they need to look at other places, is because of the safety
Correct.
the safety issues involved there. We're going to wrap up here for this segment, but I want to say that, it's Christmas time and you're going to be around your family. Maybe it's not the perfect time to discuss this, but it's certainly a good time to set a date to discuss this.
Exactly.
You don't want to have to wait until something happens and then you don't know what to do and then you don't make good, rational decisions.
And I found there was peace of mind not only with myself and my family, but with my mother, knowing that we have discussed these items, and she had a sense of comfort knowing that we would carry that out in her best interest.
Right.
And at that point, then we could spend quality time together. It's that conversation
off the table.
nobody wants to talk
Yeah.
about, but it is absolutely in honor of them and to
Yes.
respect them.
Exactly.
It's the most important and most loving thing we can do.
Right, exactly. Well, we're going to come back in a few minutes and we're going to talk some more about different things people need to know to make those kind of decisions.
Okay, thank you.
Be right back.
When Margaret and I decided to sell the old estate here, we had only one choice in signage: Logan Street signs and banners. Conveniently not located on Logan Street anymore, but rather located on 10th Street on the south side of Noblesville. Well, we sold the old beauty, and we were able to buy this wonderful estate. And we had so much money left over, I was able to buy this beautiful 1968 Eldorado Cadillac for Margaret. Only 472,000 miles. Margaret loves it because it's got those big seats and that heavy-duty suspension to support her svelte frame. Next time you're looking for signs or banners, call old Jim at Logan Street Signs and Banners, 773-7200. Conveniently not located on Logan Street anymore.
Everyone knows it's easy to find first-run movies in the big theaters. But where can you go to watch your favorite classic movies on the big screen for the perfect night out? Why rent a flick when you can rent the entire theater? Call today to reserve our 32-seat theater for your next event, or just stop by to see what's showing this weekend. The 14 by 7 foot screen and the high quality digital surround sound system offers all the amenities you would expect from the big theaters, with a laid back atmosphere and comfortable seating of your own home. Wofford Theater at 1744 South 10th Street in Noblesville gives you the classic movies you want with a big theater experience.
We're back, Jill. How are you? This
Good,
is
thank you.
Jill from Cardon and Associates. They have several facilities in Hamilton County. Actually, have several facilities in the state of Indiana.
Exactly.
Yeah. So really, if you are looking for good quality care for your parents, go to cardon.us and see what they have. You've got maps set up so you can kind of see where the different locations are.
Yes, and you can put your information in and click on to find out the facilities that are in your area, that are close to your home.
Okay, yeah, and that's exactly true. Because I know you are finishing up, if you're not already, the one in Plainfield.
Correct.
Is
That's,
that done?
that's
Is
almost
it
completed. Not
Almost
yet, but
completed, pretty soon.
Yes.
So, and then they've got the new one up at 146
Six
and
and
Ditch
Ditch.
for next year.
Correct.
But you've got Greenwood covered. I mean, you just have, they have lots of really fine facilities throughout the state of Indiana. One thing that Jill and I wanted to talk about is rehab, because I mentioned in Hamilton Trace, where my folks are, one of the things you do is rehab. Do you do rehab at the Carmel Health and Living
yes.
as well?
All of our facilities provide that service, not
they
only
do?
inpatient but outpatient also.
Okay, well, let's talk about, because obviously with rehab, you know, people come in, they don't always stay. You said, what, 70%?
Of our population in our skilled nursing facility, their return to home, it's either an
70%,
yes,
yeah.
an illness or an injury,
Okay.
and the majority of those patients come in and rehab and then are back to their prior level of function, and it's critical that we make sure that that transition is safe,
Yes.
not only as they regain that function, but as they transition into their home,
Right.
that we make sure that that setting is safe also, so that not only the resident but the family is comfortable.
Right.
That once they get home, they will be safe.
Right. Well, I mean, I know even just in breaking a hip, because my mother broke her hip, you know, oh my goodness, it took so long to get her back up to speed, even with the rehab.
where she was, right.
So, okay, explain this, because we didn't go this route at that particular time. But so you guys go to the people's homes,
Yes.
and what are you looking for? What are you doing?
There's a home evaluation that is offered, and this is a free service, because we want to make sure that once the patient leaves our facility, it's one thing that they can actually perform these activities of daily living in our gym with our therapist,
Right.
but their home doesn't always look like that. And so we need to go in and see, what does the home look like, and
Right.
is it safe? And we'll go in and we'll go through all the different activities of daily living. I've measured steps, I've looked at surfaces, how they get to their mailbox, how they get in and out of their car, in and out of the bed. Bathing, dressing, cooking. And if they can't reach things and they've had recent hip or knee replacements,
Right.
you know, everything brought down to eye level so that they're stable when they're reaching for items in their cabinets, so that they're stable. So we look at all those facets, so once they do return home, and then also their medication management.
Right.
Often you'll have medications from your skilled stay, you'll have medications from the hospital stay, you'll have medications that
Sounds
your,
like a nightmare.
that your doctor, primary care doctor
Yeah.
prescribed.
Right.
Who's going to be that person that does that reconciliation to make sure that we are safe with our medications and that there's not interactions or redundancies, and so that we make sure that that has happened with
Okay.
our pharmacists so that the patient is safe.
So they're
And then
coordinating all those
coordinating
drugs.
that and setting
Okay.
up the medication for them.
Okay. Now, I don't know, so I mean, I know that you do rehab and there's a whole rehab unit there. Do your folks then go to their home, or how does that
To
work?
follow them once they do leave, we do
Yes.
the home assessment,
Yes.
and then what we do is then they are referred, and home health comes in and meets with them at the facility before they leave, and the family.
Okay.
And then they will pick up the care once they go into their home, if continued oversight and care is needed at that point in time. Or
Okay.
they may not be having home health follow them, and the family has chose to take care of some of those needs. And then we do an outreach and we follow up and we call them to make sure, are things going okay?
Right.
It may be okay for the first 3 days, but what we find is a few days out, it may become too much for the family, or things the patient may not be doing as well as we expected.
Right.
So at that time we can intervene, and there's a window within that with their Medicare benefit that they can come back in if needed. And
Okay.
what we want to do is catch something before it causes a problem,
Right.
so we can keep them safe. So we keep in touch with them, check on them, see how they're doing.
That's really, really important. And I guess I just didn't realize that you did that. It's like, to me, you've almost gone the extra mile.
Yes, it's important because care doesn't leave when they leave our door.
No, it
We
really
continue
doesn't.
to check on them, and we're always there, and we're always available as a resource. It may not be that they need to be readmitted, but they may need a resource that they can plug in their home, or with their family, to continue to keep them safe at home. And that's what's important to us,
Right.
is to allow our communities to age in place and for us to be available to them and a resource.
Well, you talk about being a resource and how important it is to be a resource. Both of us being baby boomers, we are learning so much. When our parents, our grandparents, aged, it was pretty simple. They stayed at home. You didn't go to the nursing home unless you were just like, pretty much that's all you could do, right? So what's going to happen is that we now all have learned as baby boomers what our what we have to do, so we don't have to put this on our children.
Correct.
So, and speaking as a resource, what else could you tell baby boomers how you can help make that decision, that kind of information?
First of all, as I said in the beginning, conversation is absolutely critical.
Yeah.
Communication is the key.
Yes.
Once we know their wishes, we need to talk about what is capable, what we're capable of doing, what their wishes are, what their finances are.
Right.
And that's important too, to make sure that you can to guard anything that they may have, to be able to take care of that.
Right.
What do they have available? Also, what are they safe in doing? And then while they're at home, I think it's really important to look at, has anything changed? Monitor, is anything changed? Have they withdrawn socially? And it can be some key indicators of depression that's starting. I've noticed once people start to lose some of their faculties, or they're unable to do certain things, they will withdraw from their social
Right,
circle
exactly,
because of
exactly.
embarrassment. And once they start to withdraw, then they become depressed.
Right.
What's their nutrition look like? If they're recovering and they've had an illness or an injury, it's critical that they have good nutrition. Do they have the capability of making those meals themselves, or are they able to do that? So some of those things we need to monitor. We need to monitor their finances also.
Right.
Are they paying their bills? Are they becoming confused? And one of the things I noticed with my mom is that they were paying bills that didn't exist any longer.
Oh,
And that was a flag to tell me that something else was going on.
Right,
That we
right.
were at a point now she wasn't capable of carrying out some of those tasks.
Well, and you know something else that, and it's really been brought to my attention, and I hope in 2015 I can get the message out more. There is a stigma that people have with, oh, mom or dad has to move into the retirement home, that it's like a nursing home, like their parents were, but it's not. And you talk about people withdrawing because some of their facilities are, they're having a hard time. In a retirement facility, you have other people, you have activities, you have things to do. Your food is taken care of, so they don't have to worry about what's in the cabinet and how am I going to open that jar or that
Exactly.
can or any of that kind of stuff.
So we all like our meals prepared for us 3 times a day.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, exactly. But you see what I mean, is that I think a lot of times the older people, they want to stay at home, and I understand that to an extent. But when they're some of the things you just mentioned, it's not that bad. Actually, it's pretty darn good. because like you said, you've got your meals prepared, you've got activities for people to do while they're there. You have camaraderie.
You have social interaction.
You have social interaction.
And you have others of the same age,
Yes.
same generation.
Who can relate.
Who can relate going
Yes,
through the same
exactly,
thing. And I have
exactly.
found people that have been able to come in and then become very engaged and almost have a second life where they
Yes.
find that they had withdrawn so much and so much that was missing from their life.
Yeah.
And they've made new friends, and that's important.
Yes, it really
This
is.
is a very important time of life. These are the people that raised us and gave back to our community for so many years.
Exactly.
That we are able to give that to them. And what we want to do is have them in an environment where they're safe.
Yes.
So they can enjoy
Right.
that part of their life.
Right. So, anyway, Jill, thank you so much. It's
Thank
been
you.
great finding out. I found out lots of new things today. I'm always happy to learn new things. Hey, that's going to do it for the Indy Boomer Show today. Thank you for coming. Pick up a copy of the November issue of Indy Boomer, or you can always go to indyboomer.com and get the digital version. Thank you, and we will see you next time.